Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at some pitching for today, the 30th of June. It is Sunday. We do have a 9-game main slate to work with. We have 2 games with a lot of rain issues in Philadelphia and New York on this slate. Doesn't look like there's a ton of PPD risk in them, but both of those, according to our weather station, have a near 50% chance of a delay. So something to pay attention to. Timing is going to be super important. But I am not a weatherman, and we're just here to take a first look at our pitching options on this slate. I am using DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do use FanDuel, I would cut my pool into about a half or even a third, depending. Just because you don't have to be as creative at pitcher. Pricing isn't quite as tight overall. So let's dig in here. Ranger Suarez in the aforementioned rain game. Great matchup. Massive 258, minus 258 favorite. Rocking a K prop of 5.5. Juice is on the under. But Suarez has been phenomenal this season, coming off of a rough start against Detroit. But he's had such an elite season to this point. He dominated this Marlins squad earlier. He's prevented a ton of runs while pitching at home so far this season. He's undefeated at home. Just a lot to love for Ranger Suarez. In general, his K upside doesn't generally match other 10K plus pitchers. And he might go a little overlooked because we have Garrett Crochet, who I would say has much more upside. Taking on a weak Colorado lineup, Crochet has been phenomenal. Strikeouts obviously are there. He's got 4 double-digit strikeout performances on the season. Coming in with an extra day of rest. He's been absolutely electric at home. So, I mean, it's hard to ignore using Garrett Crochet, even over Ranger Suarez at this point. I do not see a K prop yet for Crochet, but he is a minus 198 favorite in this game. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's Crochet over Suarez quite easily right now, but Suarez has just been so damn good that he does make some sense as a pivot off of Crochet. Freddie Peralta, racking up strikeouts in his 2 starts against the Cubs. Hasn't been as sharp at home this season. Traditionally, he's been best when pitching at home. His K rate is much higher at home, which is obviously something we look for. Hasn't been as consistent over the last few weeks, but still plenty of upside. Great GPP option for us. Garrett Cole, I'm just not going to go there yet. He looked pretty rough in his last start against the Mets. Was decent in his debut against Baltimore. I'm just not ready to go there. I want to see him be a little more consistent in his return from his injury. Lugo struggled against Cleveland the first time he faced them. His K prop sitting at just 4.5 right now, with juice strongly on the under. He is a minus 135 favorite, however. I don't think I'm going to get there, but I don't hate it if somebody says that they want to use Lugo, just based on the way that he's thrown, all season long. He is generally better on the road, but it's not like he's been atrocious at home. He's just not picking up W's, which kind of mess with his fantasy points per game. His K rate isn't as strong when he's pitching at home either. Hunter Green, somebody I always like using. His K numbers haven't been as strong as last year, but his walks, the walks are still up there, but his home runs aren't as strong as they were last year either. But I actually like the matchup for him. He's been best on the road. Opponent's batting average of 151 on the road is extremely strong. Really impressive. Just 3 home runs allowed on the road. It's one every about 14 innings, which is a big cutback from uh, the initial Hunter Green that we got at the major league level. Um, just a great play for me. Plenty of upside. He's a slight underdog. Game total is just 7.5. K prop of 6.5. Juice is on the under, however, but um, I would definitely add him to the pool. Same with Taj Bradley. Has been absolutely phenomenal at home. Also allowing an average of just 151 in his split here. Huge difference between his home road splits. Can't seem to pick up any wins when pitching at home, despite his elite level numbers at home. So I'm going to go with Bradley. I know Washington isn't a huge K team, but I still think Bradley offers plenty of upside. Obviously, walks are the big issue for me. If you can limit those, you can avoid these big numbers. Obviously, Baltimore lit them up for home runs, walks, everything. Um, but yeah, I think Bradley makes a lot of sense as well. Um, Not really interested in Waldron, I don't think, right now. Um, he might end up making my pool just because he's been so steady. Um, and he's actually been his best on the road, which is where he's at now. Um, so it'll be something I have to dig into a little bit more. See if I can find his prop numbers. K prop of just 4.5 with juice on the under. The game itself, Boston is a slight home favorite, but the game total right now in Boston is 10.5. I think I'm going to end up passing on Waldron. There's just a few things that are going against him in the spot. So, but as I look at some other names, Waldron might make my pool kind of as a last man in, just because he does have the upside if things kind of come together. Kevin Gausman, I'm just not going to go there. He hasn't looked right all season. He's made two starts against the Yankees and looked terrible in them. Uh, I'm just not going to go there until he shows that he's figuring something out. Plus, he's been atrocious at home. Lance Lynn, I think, is going to make my pool. It feels dirty. I realize that. Pretty solid performance against Cincinnati the first time. Didn't pick up the win. Some unearned runs. Coming off of a great start against Atlanta. So he does have plenty of upside on this slate. Um, just because I think most of the pitching here for me is pretty questionable overall. So I think that's why Lance Lynn might sneak into my pool. I don't feel spectacular about it, but I did mention he is a minus 115 favorite. His K prop I think is just 5.5 juice on the under. Um, but again, I obviously stack against Lynn, but I think Lynn's gonna have to make my pool based on what we're looking at for pitching options. Luis Severino against Houston. I don't think I'm going there. I'm not gonna. I don't really want to chase this 10K performance. He's certainly shown the ability to get it done. Um, but obviously, we talked about weather. His K prop's just 4.5 at this point. Um, Game total of 9. He's a minus 142 favorite, but I'm just not going to go with Severino in that spot. The weather obviously is going to make it a little easier to fade him. Chirinos has looked decent in his two starts since returning. I do have a little bit of interest in him, which is weird to say. I think it just helps that Harper and Schwarber are on the IL, to where then maybe Chirinos can get it done. I'm not sure. I mean, it's going to be tough. K prop's just 3.5. It's not an attractive line, but he certainly picked up more strikeouts than that in each of his first two starts. Um, I probably won't get there, but I'm at least intrigued enough to look into it more. Um, but most likely I probably won't because I don't. Yes, ultimately I don't know if he has the upside we need. Same with Logan Allen here. The game's got such a strong, decent total. I guess I was thinking of the Boston game. And his K prop's just 3.5. Game total in it is 8.5. He's given up so many home runs, 18 home runs so far, in what is that, 78 in 2/3 innings. A lot of walks as well. Just not going to be somebody that I want to rely on. Kyle Freeland made his return from the IL. One hit performance. That's pretty strong against Washington. Now takes on a weak White Sox squad. Um, Maybe I should have some interest here. Game total is just 7.5 in this one. He's obviously a strong underdog, but K prop of 4.5 juices on the under. I think Freeland might be somebody that people sneak into their lineups and try to get a 20 to 25 fantasy point performance. He could be the last man in, or I could just eliminate him thinking that I'm not going to get 20 to 25 out of him. But there we have it. There's that first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on. Get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's RAZ, for 10% off monthly. And as always, best of luck, everybody.